Capstone and Technical Showcase Debrief. Essentially, we're going to have a segment of welcome, and then we're going to review the goals and objectives of Capstone and of Technical Showcase. We're going to then break out into breakout rooms by team, and we're going to do a plus and delta analysis of our experience during Capstone and, of course, Technical Showcase. Then we're going to come back together as a whole class and basically share as much as you care to share and discuss as a whole class. Then after we've completed the plus and delta and the whole class share and discussion, we're going to talk about what the next 2 weeks of Pursuit Core, which is what a part of, this is what you're doing, your Pursuit Core. So until now, from now until June 30th, you're Pursuit Core in the 6.2 class. So what is the last 2 weeks going to look like? We're going to talk about that. Then when on June 30th, you complete Pursuit Core, that's the official end day of the 6.2 Full Stack Web Core program. Well, now that you're Pursuit, I guess, advanced, I don't know if what we're calling that, what does that look like anyway after June 30th for 6.2 as a class? And then based on what we share with you and talk with you, like if you have any questions, comments, feedback that you'd like to share with Aleo and I, then we're gonna have like a little moment for that, and then we're gonna adjourn. By then it should be 9:45, so then we can do checkout. So it should transition nicely for us to end at 10 p.m. Does that sound good to everyone? I don't hear anything.
Yep.
It does. Perhaps you couldn't see it.
Yeah, I can't see all of you. So there's just a little bar at the top. Okay. So welcome 6.2 Full Stack Web. Congratulations. It's been a year. How does it feel?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Like a transformation.
Mm-hmm. What else? Transformation.
That was a grind.
Yeah. Definitely all of that. All of the above.
6.2.
Mm-hmm.
The 6.2 class.
Started June 23rd.
Wait, the start date was June 23rd?
June 23rd, 2019.
Wow,
Mm-hmm.
it's almost a year.
Mm-hmm.
Next Tuesday will be a year.
Wow. I remember when was it that you came? I think it was before the start day. You came a day and to like meet everyone at Pursuit. You met me. I remember a few of you. I don't remember everyone, but I do remember a few of you. I remember Joy. On when that first when you just first came to like meet, know the space and meet like who was gonna be your classroom team. Who else I remember? I remember Janesh asking about the curriculum. Like what are the things that we're gonna learn? I remember Stephanie was with us. She also asked questions. Yeah, I think those are the main. But I'm sure you were all there. Does anyone remember anything about that day?
Dessa was sitting next to me for a majority of the day, so I remember Dessa. I also remember Deja because she was in my interview pool. So those were going in. Those are the two who I remember from that day.
Wow.
Was that day? No, that was the first day of class, the one that we did the activity with kind of the repurposing like trash.
Oh, Junk Wars. I remember Junk Wars. That was after when you started. That was June 23rd.
Oh, that was June 23rd. Okay, I remember that. Hello.
Yeah.
And nobody remembers Chris.
I remember Chris.
I remember the one day Chris spent with us.
Oh my God. I just remember being really nervous and scared for you guys, wondering what the experience was going to be like, wanting it to be amazing for you all, and not having a clue of how I was going to make that happen. That's what I remember. But you learn as you go, and I got to know all of you, and it's amazing. Also, two people that I also remember from that day, in addition to Brianna and Joey and everyone, it was, oh my gosh, Camille. Do you remember Camille and Renee? I think Renee had her child with her. So I remember that. Or maybe she didn't have her child that day. But I remember talking to her about being a mom and everything. So, yeah. So Camille and Renee, who we lost, but still with us. And Pearl. Mm-hmm.
Pearl asks a lot of questions.
Who?
Pearl, she asks a lot of questions.
Yes. Yes.
What about Sharar?
Definitely more than Sharar.
Gerard wasn't there.
Oh, Shara was not in the first day, right?
No, Sharar wasn't even there the first day. He came the second day. Oh, I remember Sharar, but I also remember when he came.
That's a big red flag.
What? Guys. Well, the point is, we've all come a long way. We've, as a class, as individuals, and how many of you remember not knowing Express, React, what else? How to make a for loop, a while loop, all of these different things. Technically, you were not where you are today, and that's a huge change, a huge transformation, as Michael said. So
That's very cool.
So what does this number mean?
So here we have the first number.
Is that including node modules?
44,000. Wait, no, 44,873 lines of code. That does not include node modules. It does not. I try to remove as much code that I knew you didn't write as possible. That is like taking out the node modules, taking out the Git stuff, taking out the README. Actually, even though the README could kind of count as code. Especially, I think there were some teams. I think the Azure team had like some files for training a model. I remove all that. This was like, I think, as lean as possible. I think the margin of error might still be in the hundreds. I removed empty lines, and I did not remove commented out lines or comments in code. I think I didn't see a whole ton of those, but those are in. And, as a whole class, this is only for your capstone projects. It'll be cool to maybe see, but much more difficult to do, like all the code you have written since you started the program. So this is 44,000 lines that 10 months ago, well, 12, 11 months ago, you did not know how to write, most of you. And now you did. Now you wrote them. And I was just think that is, the number itself doesn't mean anything, but it does bring into perspective that, one line at a time, you can build applications. And this is the number of lines across all projects of Capstone. And I hope to see these lines of code increase as you improve your projects, as you retouch them, and so on. Any thoughts on this number or questions? Okay, let's go to the next number.
So wait, I just saw a comment that I wanted to highlight.
Okay, where?
So Cameron said, I remember sitting down at the first table, then it was today. It does feel like that a little bit. I remember that day and I'm like, how did we get here to today? But yeah, just wanted to shout out that.
It doesn't feel quick to me. It feels long and arduous.
Oh, Owen, I'm sorry it was so arduous. At least I hope it was interesting and gratifying to be here today.
One of the best things I ever did. Well,
Music.
actually, that remains to be seen. Just kidding.
Oh my gosh. Thanks, Owen.
I think it's a journey for every single one individually. It's a shared journey, but also like we experience it from our own selves.
That's true.
Yeah. Total number of commits, 3,748. That is 3,748 times you have to do git add, git commit, write a message, those that are very easy to forget, like those that are hard to say, what am I going to write in here? But you did it 3,000 times and 748.
Doesn't seem like a lot.
It's a good number across the whole projects, and we're going to see like next the top three projects, and we'll see that. But yeah, this is one commit at a time. If we put all this like into a grid of like the GitHub green squares, we'll see a lot of green. Yeah, this is the number of commits. Yeah.
Sorry, is this just for Capstone?
Yes.
This is for Capstone, yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It was
Yeah.
only like
Well,
7.
then in that case, then that's a lot.
Yeah. This was for Capstone. I'd like to do a count of like everything from the beginning. But the commits will be easy to do, but the lines of code will be harder. Because the commits, yeah. Cool. And the last number, 695 pull requests. 695 times I hope you sent a message to your teammate saying, hey, I have something here ready to go. Can you take a look at it and merge? Again, this is across all the cohort, all the groups, only for Capstone. I was actually thinking on like comparing some of this with my own class. I'm sure we did very worse. Like I don't remember us like really doing PRs when I was a fellow. So this was really good to see. 695. That you're doing it the way you will do it in the industry. Sending out a PR, filing a PR request, and asking for review and having a conversation about it. Yeah, so congrats to all for having reached these numbers. Cool. Let's
And this
go.
is just indicative of the last 10 weeks of your Pursuit Core experience.
That's correct. Yeah, on the Capstone. Okay, so let's take a look at the top 3 teams. Numbers of commits. Endeavor with 1,097 commits. Carry with 828 commits. Pantry with 578 commits. Actually, I want to look at my Capstone project because I think my Capstone project might be well below these numbers. Let me do that really quickly.
Did I stop sharing?
No, that's fine. Yeah,
Oh.
well below all of them. My capstone project has 427 commits. Just to put it in contrast. Congratulations to the committers of the 6.2. In terms of PR, 141 for Endeavor, Choral representing the music sphere with 131 PRs, and Carrie also representing the top three, 128 PRs. Lines of code, we can see Endeavor also leading with a whopping 11,444. Pantry with 8,403, and Carrie also staying in the lead with 7,449. Yeah, that's really good to see. And congratulations on those commits. I'm sure that all this stuff is a measure of how hard you work and how much time you put into these projects, and it's really encouraging to see, in not only in this area but in many others. And I think seeing you surpassing your instructor in many areas, not only this, and I think that's the goal of all instructors really, is to have their students surpass the master. Yeah, congrats. I wish I had a prize to give you, really.
Don't worry.
These are just sort of broken down. Endeavor, congrats again. Pantry, Coral, and wait, I think did we skip Carrie? Oh yeah, I didn't see Carrie. Yeah, congrats again.
All right. So now we know how much time and amount of, I guess, commits, lines of code, and pull requests it takes to build something like what you guys have built. This quality of work that you've been able to accomplish. So congratulations to all of the teams. Now let's take a look at the goals and objectives of Capstone and Technical Showcase. So, Aleo, do you want to talk about what we had originally thought through for Capstone projects?
Definitely. The goal is for you to put all your skills to the test, and build your biggest project at Pursuit, which is the Capstone project. It has traditionally been the biggest project that most fellows do. And that, we want you to exercise all the stuff you learned in the past 11, 10 months. That is building an application with React. Some of you, like Pantry, took it to the next level into React Native, doing, working with a database in PostgreSQL. Some of you also implemented or looked into other databases. So it's not only to, build with what we taught you, but also an opportunity for you to expand and look into other options and explore your own interests. And these are some of the details on what we wanted you to do. I think every team accomplished it in different ways. Maybe some teams are still yet to deploy, but we'll be working on that in the next couple of weeks. And ultimately, what the goal of Capstone is for you to build a project you're proud of, build a project that can serve you as an asset when you're looking for a job. And the way in which that serves you is by overcoming the challenges that you overcame, and developing your skills, so that then in any of you, you can talk about them. They are actual examples of you solving engineering problems the way you did. So that is the gold capstone. Yeah.
So the goal of, thank you, Aleo. The goal of Technical Showcase was really to give you an opportunity to showcase that you were able to accomplish that. You were able to build a full stack web app from start to finish as a team with minimal support from volunteers in the tech industry as your capstone mentors, to demonstrate that you were able to effectively work as a team and manage a product from beginning to end, from start to finish. And also Tech Showcase had an additional goal and objective in mind. And that was really to reinforce your passion for tech, so that you can get, by allowing you an opportunity to network and interact with tech industry volunteers, and also to get feedback in such a way that would create hopefully employment opportunities for you all and other fellows, and really further the social impact mission of Pursuit. So I guess with these thoughts in mind, with these goals and objectives, outcomes in mind, like I would like for us to really just go into breakout rooms according to your teams. And in these breakout rooms, really reflect on your capstone experience. So the last 10 weeks of core for you, what went well and why? What would you do, not what would your teammate do, but what would you really do for yourself differently or change about those last 8 to 10 weeks, and why? And what do you appreciate about the entire capstone experience? Hopefully you all have at least one or two things that you appreciate about capstone. If not, if you can't find something to appreciate about the experience, then, you know, by all means, let us know, and let us know why. Any questions on like what you're doing in the breakout sessions as a team?
I'll just add, designate a note taker, and just put these notes on a Google Doc and share it with us. Yeah, and then share it with Des and me, and we'll receive a copy of it.
Yes. I'm going to actually also just copy and paste this in the chat, right? So then you can each copy and paste it into like the notes for your group. Does that make sense, everybody?
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you, Owen. All right, let me stop sharing for now. I hope everybody from all the groups are here. I'm gonna bounce around to each group, but just, you know,
missing.
yeah, who's missing?
Jamesh and Michael were here.
Michael's here, right? Michael?
I'm here. Yeah.
Janesh is here too.
Yeah.
What?
He's Link, and then like the emoji on his name. That's Janesh.
Yeah, I'm the pantry background. I don't know if you guys see it.
Okay.
Yeah, I see it.
I guess Zoom is playing a trick on me. I'm gonna recreate the rooms. Okay, yeah, now I see most people here. I think we're missing Khadija, and Savita.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay, I'm going to open the rooms now. Make sure to create a Google Doc, paste these questions in, just have a conversation about it and take notes. Designate a note taker. Then don't forget to share it with us.
Yeah.
How long is this for, Lisa?
This is for about 20 minutes. Also, I would love if, hopefully you all can write down something that you appreciate about your capstone mentor. Hopefully that's like one of the appreciations and why. I'm hoping that we can get some quotes on like from your appreciations about your capstone mentors to put together like a digital card for the capstone mentors for Sunday. How does that sound? Guys? Thank you, Leo.
That sounds good to me. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting.
Thank you. I just need some sort of feedback. Thank you. I see the thumbs up. I hear you, Doug. Whew. Thought I was talking to myself. Thank you, guys. All right, Leo. Way to go. Thanks, Jonathan.
So I'll close the rooms at 8:50.
Yes. 10 minutes to 9, basically. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Let's go.
Ooh. Oh, by the way, Brianna?
I think she already left.
No, she's here.
That's what you think.
There's 4 people in this room, it says.
Janesh, do you see the link? The invitation?
No, I don't see it.
Oh, yeah, okay. Let me put you there. Cool.
Okay, I got it now.
Thanks, Janesh.
I think Rihanna might have lost her connection.
I wanted to tell her that my mom remembered her from Hackathon. Just like she remembered me from my mom was always asking me, who's that nice young woman? How is she doing? Like my mom really like remembers Brianna and totally always asks me about how she's doing. I hope you get her a job. She needs a job.
There is Brianna again. So we have 2.
Hi, Brianna.
Hi. My internet is. I don't know.
We're still seeing you on the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
see the other one.
I don't know what's going on.
Oh, wait, hold on there.
You should take a
screenshot. I'll show you later.
Twilight Zone. Oh, you know something, Brianna?
This was happening to me earlier today. I had 3 classes on Google Meets, and everything was it has to be my internet.
It is. My internet has been acting up too as well. I had to use a hotspot. And I literally just got high-speed internet.
All right, the other one just left, I see.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, Brianna, before you go into your breakout room, I wanted to share with you, just like you remembered me from that day one, my mom cannot stop reminding me and asking me about you. Really? She remembers you like perfectly from
How does she know? Oh, but for hackers. But I wasn't but I wasn't there for Hackathon.
Wait, when did she remember you from then?
I don't know. But it couldn't have been Hackathon because I wasn't there.
You weren't.
That was my birthday weekend. I wasn't there.
But she remembers you because she calls you by name. Yes.
When did she meet?
She's mixing up you with Brianni.
Maybe.
That's crazy. Oh.
Because I sure wasn't there. I was having fun for my birthday.
She totally describes you. She's like the glasses, the afro puff.
And she doesn't wear glasses, so I don't. Brianni doesn't wear glasses, so I don't know. I have no idea.
She remembers you.
That's the only to confirm.
I'll need to confirm. But anyway, foot out of mouth, I'm going to have to confirm who in the world she's talking about because I honestly thought it was you. All right. Breakout rooms.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. That's so mad. Why didn't I remember that she wasn't there that day?
So who are this? Who's your mom?
I don't know who my mom remembers, but whoever it is, she always asks me about that person. But she calls Brianna's name,
So maybe she's
and I never told her the
confused
names
herself.
of my fellows.
Wait, so we're going into.
Cameron's.
I'm gonna go on Jonathan's first. Just want to check in on him.
Okay,
I'll
send
be
me the
back.
Camerons.
Okay.
All right.
Cameron. Where's Cameron? Cover to cover. Cover to cover. You are there. Hey, Jonathan.
Hello.
How are you doing, man?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Yeah, I saw the message that Savita sent that she was not feeling well. How are you doing with the some of this stuff?
I'm doing okay for the most part. I'm trying to actually be candid but nice and have a better word choice with how I'm trying to elaborate how I feel about this.
Okay,
But,
that's totally fair. Cool.
but yeah, as for me, everything that went well was, I finished the capstone project and I got to meet Chen. He's a great programmer. He really pushed me to think outside the box again.
That's cool.
And also, kind of like reignite my passion for programming.
That's good. That's really important. Yeah.
I was feeling a little dead when I was happy when I came to capstone, and then when I hit that bump in the road, I was like, I don't want to do this no more. At least not for now, at least.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad that Shan really ignited that fire again. Cool. Okay. I guess I just wanted to check in with you how you were doing and stuff.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. I'll see you in a few minutes back in the main session. Then.
All right.
See ya.
See you.
Interesting. Hello. You're muted.
Hello.
So I just told them that they need to speak candidly to each other about what their experience has been during capstone, and I wanted them to pick a question to start off with.
Yeah, cool.
Why don't we start off with the first question? What went well?
Well, the app did come together. Thankful for that.
Mm-hmm.
We had an idea. It was a bit shaky in the beginning, but we, I guess, like a week after we came up with the idea, we all came to an agreement, and now something clicked, and we kind of knew we planned for this app. We actually had a solid foundation, a solid idea what we wanted to do with it, as a group.
Who's taking notes?
I can.
Yeah. So add that.
Yeah.
I did like the idea of it, and it was going pretty well. Oh, the app in general. I don't know why it didn't. I feel like in order to make it better, we needed more of a wow factor, and that might have included like the video and audio that we were planning, because text is hard to sell in a demo. I guess I'm thinking selling or something, selling something.
Okay.
But I did like the whole idea premise of it, especially I don't know. I didn't plan to call it cover to cover, but like the idea of like everyone being a open book or something like that. This still sounds cool to me, so I do like the idea. Fuzzy pillow.
So another point for like the app, getting the app done, right? And the idea of having a platform where people can share their stories.
Yeah.
Joanne, what about you?
I think the fact that we're able to have ideas basically bounce from each other um, went pretty well. The fact that we're able to exchange ideas and then um, help each other improve with those ideas.
The the brainstorming climate was good, and the bouncing of ideas. Cool. That's always good.
Okay. Anything else that you felt went really well beyond the brainstorming and ideating parts of the app?
I think we also had like mutual respect in a sense. Hearing out what each and every one had to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the conversations we had when we were choosing an idea were good, and kind of helped too, because a lot of times I just wanted to kind of take the train or truck and just drive away with it sometimes.
I think I might have. I think I from the conversations, because I was part of each group's like Slack channel. I think your Slack channel was one of the most active ones, which was good to see.
What?
You guys,
So was everyone
feel
just like coding the entire time?
You guys feel like you were not active on communicating?
Not really.
Personally, well, in communication and really just in participation of that, because like my time just like I planned on like leaving my job a couple months ago, and then COVID hit, and you know that idea just went out the gate because I really wanted to put all my time into this project, and I went from planning on doing that to really having nothing, like no time at all, or barely any time to really do anything. So really overall, it's like I still don't feel like I put in much into this app, but you know, there's still more to work on too. So.
Okay.
My camera's so low. There we go.
I mean, I did say like you were always saying in your Slack, you were always saying like, oh, I have this ready to go. Who can take a look? Or coordinating a Zoom meeting with your mentor. So that was good to see, and also like just sharing ideas. But
You know what really helps with that? It helps when you handicap yourself. You can't push commits or merge them unless your team does it. So that really forces you to, because I know like before people sometimes like it's really easy just to submit something and be like, okay, it works. We just merge it and get what I want done.
Yeah. That's cool. You guys have like the master branch protected, right? So nobody could do a direct push. That's good. So okay. What is like? What are you the most proud of? Or might be personal, might be about the app, but during this capstone time.
So for me, I guess the last couple of days, I remember actually it was Wednesday. You guys were both there, Dessa and Leo. You both were trying to decide whether or not we should work on that functionality. And I just remember hearing Leo say like, just work on something else.
And what functionality?
So the entire functionality of the app. I think Dessa was really happy. She expected it to work, but there was nothing there yet. And then Leo was like, that's too much work to get done. Because basically we had to make it so a user can send a question to a storyteller, and a storyteller can answer it, and then the storyteller can also create their own story. So like 3 different functionalities that weren't really off the ground at all. And then like I just basically did nothing but code for the last couple of between Wednesday and Saturday. I just, and it was kind of crazy. I didn't think I was gonna make it in time. And the funniest and most frustrating part, that I don't think anyone really knows this, but I got it all working deployed, but then all of a sudden Heroku was pulling from my computer's database instead of the online database. So when I tried to make a new story, we had that hiccup where it didn't show up, but it was showing up on the Explore page.
I see.
So in that moment, I tried to hide it, but honestly, half the website was pulling from online, the other half was pulling from my computer, the deployed website. And so I was like, something went wrong with Heroku, or it's pulling from two different sources.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Did you figure it out at the end?
No. I was too frustrated. It's really? Wow. Because it was confusing because I had my thing on working, so I didn't realize the error until I turned it off for the capstone for station. And then it hit me when I checked it later. It's it's only pulling from my my backend from my local computer.
Well,
I don't know what that error was.
Despite, we could take a look at it later. Yeah, despite my my warning, or I don't know how to call it, my guess protective sense, how sort of being afraid that you guys might be trying to overachieve. I'm glad that you actually did it. I find that
challenge.
Yeah. And I think sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, is this really just basic? All the basics that you taught us, that's really all it was. Just trying to figure out how to use it in a clever way.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you were able to do that because, I was pleasantly surprised during the demo on Saturday to see that functionality. And it wasn't just I could see the functionality, but from my perspective, it was really clean. It was beautiful. It was intuitive.
Well, how about Dante or Joanne? What is one of the things you feel most proud of personally or about the project during this time?
I think it's for me, it's probably the back end because I spend a lot of time in the back end and being able to basically do authentication in the back end.
Mm-hmm. Nice. How do you feel? Have you? I'm thinking about you and Serge. Now you guys can talk about code. He was Web 2, right? No.
Wait, say that again?
Serge, your brother? He was Web. And you now you're able to understand each other about in terms of code. Well, I was thinking that's kind of cool.
Yeah, he actually works in back end.
Cool. Dante, what's your take on that?
My question about what I'm most proud of?
Yeah.
To be fair, I don't really think there's much I can really say in that aspect. I did work on some functionality and then did some back-end things, but really, it's there's nothing really groundbreaking about the work I did. So
that's fair.
It was just what was the tried and true approach, and there's nothing new I really tried. So yeah.
Okay, appreciate your candidness.
I think for you, Dante, you added you did the feature to be able to add the post. I think that's something to be proud of.
Where's my? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I'm looking at. I'm trying to organize my windows. Right, but it's thank you for the the input too, but it's really if I was in person and I sat down and really got down to it, that's something I feel I could have done what with like in less than an hour of work. And it's like, because I did it for some of the other projects too. Like when there was a project, it's like I'm always the one doing anything that deals with sending information to the database, or even does it regular backend work and all of that. So each of my group, it's like if they need something to post, then I'll be the one doing it. It'd be the last group, the group before that. Like when we had the Multer, the one we actually implement Multer, I was the one to do that. Was it the social media one where we had to implement the tags and all that too? The tags that I wanted to do here and I didn't get the time to. Yeah, there was a lot more could have done there in posting in general. But I thank you for the words.
And when I was going back to change things, unfortunately, we didn't get to use everything that we started working with because I had to change a lot of stuff. But I did repurpose a lot of the code that they both used, and that saved me hours of kind of like figuring it out myself. So that was really helpful, especially for when I was doing my stretch. So, like, it's not like the work didn't get used at all. It was definitely used to duplicate a few things that I was trying to do. Like mostly table routes and queries and stuff like that.
Like, what do you mean repurposing?
Like when I needed to create a new table, that means I needed to make new queries and routes and stuff like that. So instead of having to like look back in notes or code or somewhere online, I was able to just kind of like see what we already had for tables that were similar, and like it was easier to kind of have like a starting point than to start from fresh. But, yeah, especially for me, like me personally, like it's I don't know, I'm kind of weird. Like it's kind of a weird example, but like in my mind, whenever I'm playing chess, I always hate the first couple of moves, but I love like the middle of the game onward. So it's like just the beginning, like starting. Just want to be in it already, you know.
So it sounds like you appreciate having that kind of like good example or foundation to start yourself off with.
Yes.
Okay.
What were some of the questions? The other questions?
It was what would you do differently or change about the last 8 to 10 weeks? Actually be in person, and why? I definitely know a lot more work would have been done. We'd have had a lot better apps.
So that's your being in person, something you would like to do.
And I wish I actually put in for a vacation during one of those 8 to 10 weeks, because I would have had a lot more time to. What the hell? Anyway, it's a balloon. I would have had a bit more time to implement the posting, like the video and audio post, because I was kind of fighting with actually putting video and audio files up, and probably fighting with data limits. The amount of storage you could actually put up to, and it would mean it was like all you had to do was use Malta, and I was like, if that was really the case, why didn't I think of that? Like for audio too, but then if it was an actual video source, I wanted the video to be a bit crisp instead of like some low res video. I probably had horrible audio and everything too, but I'll be able to see soon.
Might have been for the best, especially since we were kind of deploying last minute. Because when I was trying to deploy, the first errors I got were multi-related. It wouldn't accept the images that were in our folder somewhere, so I had to go in there and delete the images out for the deploy branch. I think it was mostly just the images and that were solid, I guess, but I don't know. It was just a little scary because I thought it was gonna like hold me up the entire time.
And that would have been part of the wow factor that you wanted in the beginning too.
Oh yeah, I wanted the video at the very least. I mean, I'm sure there's a way to do it.
Definitely.
I basically did it in Hackathon.
Probably definitely a library we didn't look at because Doug has live streaming. I'm pretty sure it's something that you just upload a video somewhere. It'll be a simple thing to look over. Probably not as simple to implement, but
I think
definitely look at that.
So I think Douglas is they do have live streaming, but they don't have they don't upload that video anywhere.
Yeah.
I think to upload videos, you will most likely use something like what Coral used, which was using Firestore for Firebase storage, where I think it integrates also with Molter. You guys can talk to them. Where you upload your file to your server, but your server sends it to the Firestore. It's not stored in Heroku, it's stored on Firebase.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Who else wants to talk about?
I was actually thinking about that, and that's why I had like the crazy idea to start researching a different database, the MongoDB thing. Then I realized it'd just be too much change to focus on, and also the fact that it wasn't a relational database.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, databases don't really store binary data. You put information in a database that you can search, that you want to search. And binary data, like when you have a file, which is an image, you can search by name, then you'll say the name in the database, but the content itself, you wouldn't search. So that's why we don't save like images directly on databases. Just save them somewhere else for storage, and we save a link or a name to it on the database.
Oh, okay.
Who else wants to talk about what they will do differently?
Joanne, what would you do differently?
I was thinking maybe like better communication, and also probably start working on the global page instead of just leaving it blank. I just feel like if I had started, or like if we had started with that in the beginning, it would have been probably like something different. Because I know it's like it would probably take like a long time to get it done. But if we had started with it first instead of like working on other pages, that probably took like less time than that would take. I think it would have been a little bit different. Because I noticed some people were really curious about that, but we really didn't have anything there.
Hi, Leo.
I'm glad you messaged me because I was in a breakout room, so I wasn't here to let you in.
Okay. Yeah.
And you were there.
I thought that we were coming back at 8:50, so I pressed come back, but I didn't realize it was still like leaving entirely.
I see. Yeah, we'll be back in like a few minutes.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
We could have definitely we could have pre-programmed a bit more too. I think the only time we did that was when I had that issue with the on my end with the post, and that was just with the some event change or whatever, and that was it. That's for on my end at least. I think you and Joanne did something with I don't know, I'm not too sure. But yeah, like we could have met like at least twice a week to do something, like all three of us. Like we definitely had the meetings with our mentors and everything, but like to actually sit down and code together.
I think. Okay, that's a fair point.
I have a confession.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what Dessa told me, but so it was about Adam as our mentor. I appreciate his like input and help, and all that stuff, and just kind of like being able to like schedule meetings with us and talk with us about it. Um, but I guess I was frustrated a little bit whenever he would say our app is fine and doing good. Like every week, he would say the same thing, while I just did not feel that way. Like I felt like we didn't have functionality until code freeze. Like there was no functionality on our app at all, and I was just I don't know. I felt like we should have had something like the first week. I feel like that's actually been our sprint week goal every week since the last week. So I don't know. I don't know. I felt like maybe we needed more of a jolt or a rush or some type of like kick in the butt to do that. Because like when I started to realize as I saw other people's projects that they didn't have anything but functionality on their site. So I was initially starting off the front end really hard. I'm working on that. But maybe we could have all just worked on the back end and like forget about the front end entirely.
Was it? Let me see if I understood correctly. Was it me that I was saying your app looks good? You guys are great.
No, Adam.
It was our advisor.
Our mentor, yeah.
Our mentor.
Got it. Oh, I see. Okay. Like on the other hand, like it's I think it's like they know as much as you tell them, and I think I guess yeah, I don't know the specific circumstances. There's definitely like you know each mentor is different. They're on their own personality and all of that. So I'm not sure why. I guess like maybe he didn't have time to take a closer look. But that's a fair point. I think. And I appreciate you guys, even that feedback.
Yeah.
I think to be he did constantly remind us to like stick with like functionalities, and we also like we're trying to figure out what exact because we kept changing our minds on what we wanted our functionalities to be. We had this we had like a bigger idea than like what we ended up with. And
I almost wonder if like you all spent the same amount of time and energy towards coding, towards developing the functionality, if you would have ended up with something that you would all be much happier with now.
I'm pretty sure it would have been the case. It's like on top of that, my own input, I would have been happier. I would have been satisfied with my own input, and we definitely would have had a lot more to say to our, like, probably would have had enough to the point that we had to narrow down our features because of the 7-minute time frame. It said we had just enough to really fill that up.
You mean that, like, just to see if I understood correctly, like instead of having dedicated the time you dedicated by like discussing ideas and trying to make the project like bigger and more robust, instead of like doing that, you actually sat down and like work on functionality. Is that what shared?
Oh, you're talking about from my points, right? Well, to just to recap, I felt, well, personally, I pretty much explained that already. I'm pretty sure, like, the presentation was limited to 5 to 7 minutes, and we really did only enough to fill that gap. And like, if we really sat down and hunkered down and like if we did dedicate more time to functionality, we would have had we'd have to narrow down the things we had to explain. It's like we could go over this, but we can't go over this because we would be running out of time to really explain it.
I see. Yeah.
So like I want our app to like a real full feature robust app. Or it's just that's just how I really feel, because I know we could have done more. I definitely personally know I could have done more myself too. So
I guess like something that comes to mind when I hear you guys say that is like, well, you can still do more. In fact, you should do more. Like you should do enough until until you feel proud of this, until you feel like, wow, I really, I did this route or I did this component and it works great. It looks great. It works exactly the way that I wanted it. Yeah, that's just something I want to encourage everyone to do. Like, I know that it's at some point, like, we get like tired and we get like, oh, I'm like, I'm over capstone, let's say. But I think, I really want you to see this as an asset for your job search. And like, well, you have alternatives. An alternative would be like, well, let's say you build your own app, an app that you've always wanted to build, and you should still do that. But let's say like, use this app as well as an asset. Like, still, I think everyone should build whatever they want to build. I think that's my motto. I like to build some apps that I don't know if they will ever have users, but I'm building them for myself. And I encourage everyone to do that. But in terms of if you think about like the time that also takes versus the time that it takes to build an app from scratch, and I'm actually experiencing this right now because I'm building a to-do app from scratch, and I don't even have it in my resume because I don't think it's ready. But I've been building it for a year. It's probably from my projects. It's probably the project I've spent the most time in. But what I'm trying to say is that. And maybe I should practice this as well. I know that what I'm trying to say is that you should take your capstone project to the point where you're proud of. And that can happen as a team, or that can also happen individually. Yeah. And like now thinking on myself, like my caption project, I know it has a bunch of bugs. I know that it's great. I'm really, I'm feeling probably like Dante feels about his contribution on the project or how he sees the project. I see my capstone project it could have been so much better. And I know that I want to fix a couple of things that are there. Good thing that I still have the Trello board where I jotted down the things that I need to fix. And I want to get to it once I start job search later on. So yeah, like I want you to see this as really as an asset.
on top of that too, I'm glad I ended up with Joanne and Cameron too, because they're pretty understanding to like any type of situation I've been in. Because I went from well, I don't know, last year was kind of rough in terms of the parcel. Beginning of the year was slowing down, and everybody had to stay home and deal with parcel thing. They couldn't really go outside to get what they want, so everybody had to go ahead and it's like, I'll just hop online and order this. So this understanding of their time, I mean, I'm glad they're understanding of like, they didn't really get at me. It's like, oh, we're never really here for all this thing. I was like, oh, because I was really thinking about that. It's like I'm at work and I'm like, damn, we're having a meeting, and I'm over here I'm not there to do it, and I'll be late for class, or I can't really attend classes. Like I'm coming in at like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock during Saturdays, and it's like, what's the sun? What does that really make sense? To really just pop up and it's like, hello, like there's nothing wrong, but
I missed a meeting too, so not our meeting. I know I missed at least one. So,
and I just want to say, like, on that note, like, it's gonna be it's hard, man. Like, it's hard, and it's harder everyone at different levels. It's hard for everyone in its own way, and that is, I think, I don't know. Can you hear me well?
Yeah.
Okay, because I see you freezing and the audio is also freezing. Anyway, what I was gonna say that that is like your challenge then, like Dante, on like figuring out like what are the times that you're available, what are the times that you can really code. I know that's especially tough when you have a group project, but now that we're shifting a little bit more on like individual focus, that'll be I think that'll be most people's challenge, but specifically you, Dante. I think from what I feel that you have shared in the past and now, about like your schedule and your day and all those complications, and just finding the time to do one rep at least in terms of code. Yeah.
I'm cognizant of the time. We have to go back to the main room, but yeah, I think you guys should you guys should practice that radical candor and talk to each other about what you were really unhappy with and what you were really excited about during this entire capstone project. Yeah. So that being said, I'm gonna head back to the main room, and we're gonna probably end the breakout sessions though. Leo?
So I'm going to the main room, and then we're closing the breakout rooms like in 2 minutes.
Okay.
So I'll see you guys in a bit.
What are we doing? Okay, here we go. We'll pass the.
I was just saying that you guys were alone in the house. Where did Brianna go?
She went to get her group. I'm gonna do the same.
Okay. Cool. I need to use the restroom. I'll be back really quickly.
Hey guys. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Did you guys get a chance to debrief?
Yeah.
Okay, I ended up not being able to jump around to different rooms since the first group I went to took up all the time, but I'm sure there was a reason for that. Yeah. How did it go?
Why am I the only one talking?
I was talking to myself, but that's
Wait, why do you guys do that to pour them in over and over again?
Hey,
okay. Yeah.
I'm stirring up trouble. Oh my gosh, let me stop. But yeah, when like we'll give everybody a chance to come back and then we'll all share. Each group will have their note taker or whoever they appoint to share. Oof. Is it me or is it cold today? It's so cold.
it is on the cooler side.
Huh?
It is on the cooler side.
Yeah. Surprisingly so.
Alejo, Hugh Paul is trying to get in. Oh. Hugh Paul is trying to get in.
Okay.
What? Okay. Hey, Jonathan.
Hey.
Oh, here, boy. Yeah, that is.
A lot of people. Hey guys, did you end the breakout rooms, Aleo?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I was just thinking about I have seen some of you guys' house like a little bit, like by your backgrounds. Um,
Yeah.
well, I showed you my room the other day, right? A little bit. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, the other one.
I'm gonna
Are
share
you
my
guys in our
screen.
room?
Say that again?
Oh no, I thought you guys were in our room. My bad.
No, I'm gonna share my screen. So, welcome back. How was it? How was it talking? Well, I know for some of you, you were able to have conversations with your teammates. Some of you, I know, maybe not. Let's go in the order of presentations, and each group can share. I know, Endeavor. I'm sorry, you guys are always going to be first. To share what about your reflection on your capstone experience. So go ahead, guys.
Okay. So for one of the things we had a list of things for pretty much each of the different questions, but I think I'll just read one bullet from each section. So what went well? We said that we ultimately we nailed the presentation and we were able to handle the technically heavy questions that were asked by the leaders in industry, which was something that we were pretty nervous about.
Mm-hmm.
Something that we would do differently or change would be to reach out to more volunteers for input and insight on what they would like to see or what was important to them or for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then for what we appreciated throughout the entire capstone experience was I'll do two of them. First one was the length of time we were given to create a project at a healthier pace, contrasted to the nasty week-long projects that took away all of our sleep and sanity.
Oh, wow.
And the valuable support of our mentors throughout the entire project and lending a listening ear to all of our ideas, both good and not so good.
Okay. Cool. I'm not sure the first part sounded like an appreciation.
We had more time to actually go through and work on the projects for 8 to 10 weeks as opposed to 1 week.
1 week. All right. I can definitely understand and to a certain degree relate about timing of different projects that you have to manage. Okay. So next group was Leo, what was the next group? Group 2?
Next group is cover to cover.
Cover to
Well,
cover.
I guess we're going in presentation order. And now I remember it.
Right, I gotta get this on the full screen. Well, what went well was what we made a functioning app. The idea was something where we all members liked and mutually agreed upon. There was no contest thing, or no one somebody unhappy with whatever we were doing or whatever. We came to help each other to expand the ideas of the app. Like since everybody agreed and really liked it, we were able to throw out ideas and pretty much. Well, it's like there was so much we talked about. I'm sorry, there was so much we spoke about, and it's just all coming back to me. Yeah, conversations were smooth. We had mutual respect for each other. Like there was no hard-headed person in the group. Everybody pretty much were understanding of people's times and such. So really, the group dynamic was a lot better than I could have hoped. What would we do differently or change about the last 8-10 weeks and why? Well, I learned that I don't appreciate remote work. So in-person group work would have been nice. We dedicated more time to some of our features on the app and by way of more paid programming, really. Because I don't feel like we did much for that in the 8 the time we had. And what do we appreciate about the entire Capstone experience and why? Like I said, getting a feel for remote work, saying, oh, do I like it? Maybe not. At least I know now. And the opportunity to present to more industry professionals. We didn't really touch upon these questions. These are just that's just my answer to this question.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it.
Okay.
I want to make a comment on the sort of pair programming one, and I don't want to seem like I pick a lot on group one, but Endeavor, you guys had a very good practice in terms of getting together and coding. Could you briefly speak about that? I think ideally I would have liked to see all the groups do something similar. I think it was we didn't know that we were gonna do remote, but I think that might have set you guys apart as one of the best practices that you had. So if you wouldn't mind like sharing what that was, getting together to code the way you guys did it.
Yeah, it was an idea we got like together around being remote. So we decided to be in a Zoom call all the time when we're coding, and even if sometimes we're not saying anything and just working on our parts, but it made it easier to like ask questions, do pair programming, or like sometimes it's just like a small question about an idea, what to implement, what to do, that could like held you for like hours, but being like all together made it so seamless and having an answer in seconds and move on. I believe that helped a lot.
Mm-hmm. Right, it will almost like being in person because you are there at the same time.
Yeah,
that was.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I was just gonna say that I agreed with what he said. So even most times, so it allowed for us to peer program if we needed it. So if we were stuck on something and we needed another pair of eyes to help us walk through, it was easy for us because all three of us were in the same room. But it was not all of the time where we were talking, like actually interacting with each other. Like everybody still had their individual tickets, and we still had to do what we assigned or chose to do, but we were just in the same room. So in case we had to ask a question or we needed another eyes to look over it, we didn't have to call up or find out where this person was. And we did that every single day. Here, give or take interviews or oversleeping in my case where you missed it, but every single day we were in a room together.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I think that's an awesome practice. Cool. We were. Who's next? Group 5.
So for what went well, we just thought that like our workflow and the overall app production went really well. It was nice to hear such positive feedback from professionals in the industry. So the presentation and demo, we thought that part went well. Is what we would do differently. We would have really liked to. I mean, this is not under our control at all, but like work together in the same room and have like actually met our mentor, because she was such an like integral part of getting our app off the ground and really teaching us best practices from like a professional standpoint. And then for something we appreciated was actually our mentor as well. I had never had a mentor before, for at least more than like, we had one at Uber, but that was like an hour. Like Ling was with us every step of the way. We just really appreciated, like she showed us some of her her code as she would write it in a professional setting, and then she did pair programming with each one of us on her own time. So just the amount of effort that she put into a project that was not really for her, and it was more for us, to have her put in that amount of work was really nice and something we all appreciated.
Oh, nice. Just to make sure, she didn't write any single line for you.
She wrote zero code.
Okay.
We pair program, like she would sit there and like while I coded and kind of like talk to me. She wouldn't, because she was actually very adamant about not telling any of us anything specifically. She would just like let us talk our ideas out.
Okay. That's wonderful.
Nice. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Group 2, of which we only have one representative at the moment.
As for me, what went well was I finished capstone and presented the finished product, and I got to meet a great programmer and possible future mentor in Chen. Chen and all his experience, he really pushed me, and had me thinking outside the box, thinking of different ways, understanding different industry standards and programming methods, and I'm very appreciative of that. As far as what I would do differently or change over the last 8 to 10 weeks, be on a team with great chemistry and balance and stay true to my convictions, as well as develop an app I was more passionate about rather than solving a problem. I do believe teams with great chemistry and balance, people who really enjoy working with each other and working together and being able to talk and communicate and share ideas and stuff like that, that helps build the greatest apps possible, rather than people just being there and doing it for the sake of doing it. Having people that are technical and creative and organized, or just people who know how to alleviate stress in groups. That's something that you can't buy or fix. You know what I mean? And to have that is a great gift, and something like that would have been awesome to have. But what do I do appreciate about this experience is that it helped me grow as a programmer and a professional, and just to understand things a little better than I did before.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, sure.
Yeah, thank you, Jonathan.
Group 3, pantry.
Yeah, I think Michael has our notes.
Michael?
I hope Michael is here.
Michael? Can you check? Oh,
He's here, but maybe not in front of.
So, what went well for us was
You guys
that.
come? Hello?
Yes, Michael.
Michael, you're gonna share.
What? What am I sharing? Sorry, I stepped out.
No worries. We were talking about what went well, what you do differently. These the bullet points that we have on the screen.
Yeah.
Oh. Do any of you guys want to? Vanilla, do
Vanilla, you can go ahead. My bad. I thought Michael had notes, but Vanilla, you can go ahead.
What well for us was that we were able to take something new, like React Native. We've never worked with it before. We actually set up for 2 weeks to just play around with it and see the similarities and differences to regular React, and we were able to just feed off each other. Like we did the same. We had the same setup where we met each other on a Slack meeting and then just coded it out and see if we're having a problem with something, shared screen, and then run through of what the issue might be. So I think the teamwork went well despite the fact that we were all remote. Things we guess would change differently from the 8 to 10 weeks would be.
I have some the things I wrote on the doc.
So we plan out more because we had a good idea of what we wanted to do, but as we're going along, we realized that React Native wasn't as flexible as we wanted, so we had to adapt more. So I guess a more concrete plan from the start of what our capabilities were, and then because we had to pivot a lot and refactor down, so that's one thing we would change. One thing I appreciate about the fireworks outside, not gunshots. Appreciate about the council project itself is just being able to work on this. learn something new and like being part of the team. Just because we're all, I believe we're strong with coding, so to be able to see the different ways each other approaches a problem, because it was just seeing like when let's say Janesh finishes a component and then I add on to something else onto it, to see, just take a moment to understand what how he did it and how I can fit my code into what is happening there, and just be able to see a different take on what I've already been doing.
Okay, cool. Thank you for sharing.
I could add one thing. Changing differently.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to quickly add. That I think we had like some workshops towards the end, like the UI user testing. It would have been cool if you had them early on, and so we could actually use it to the fullest. But yeah, it's like my only thing.
Okay, that's fair. Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing. Group 7 country party.
Well, Suzette and I had wrote separately on our time. So rather than step on like stumble through her own words, maybe I'll take point first, walk through my 3, and then Suzette can take point and walk through her 3. But what went well for me was having the support of our mentor and the entire teaching team to allow us the freedom to research the new technologies we wanted to use and figure out how to integrate them into our site. And this allowed us to really grow into our roles as developers in a way that we've never experienced before. There were no training wheels, and we missed a lot of deadlines, and that had impacts, but not insurmountable failures. We had the space to be able to fall off our bikes a few times and scrape our knees, but ultimately we made our climb up that mountain, and we saw the top of it, and that's really amazing. What would I do differently? Obviously, we had a lot of things to cope with at the beginning of Capstone. I was juggling a lot personally, both externally and internally, and I think that if I was to do anything different, I would have tried to get my act together a lot more at the beginning of this. I was just, again, juggling a lot of stress, and Capstone priorities kind of fell to it like tertiary on my list of things to do, and that really wasn't fair. But I mean, it was the sort of thing that I was able to push past. This is what really I kind of learned about myself throughout this process, that I need that I think, like, if you had like if this had happened at the beginning of Pursuit, I don't think I would have made it this far. I think I would have given up. I think I would have checked out, and but I didn't. I persevered, and I pushed past, and I think that really kind of leads into the third thing, which is what do I appreciate about the entire Capstone process. I learned so much about myself through this crucible we've all been through. I've found myself to be far more resilient, resourceful, and determined than I ever gave myself credit for. I honestly doubted my intelligence and self-worth as I entered this program, but now I know so much better, and this is something that I'm going to take with me for the rest of my days. But Suzette, I pass it to you.
Hey, Doug, I just want to say I think you're a genius. So,
Doug definitely genius. Doug definitely genius.
Like, I think we were talking about like a presentation with my team, and like we were literally like, is Doug a magician or something? just to be able to like turn around and like make a whole like presentation, like I don't want to say out of nothing, because you were showing us like how you built up to that, but just be able to create such a robust like experience, for lack of a better term, in like such a short amount of time is I think that makes you pretty amazing.
Thank you.
I think Doug is the best marketing man I've ever seen in my life, though. So like that whole presentation had me like, I was on the edge of my seat, like, wow. That was crazy, though.
just give Doug like 2 days to create a presentation, and he'll make you buy anything.
So what?
Do that?
Yeah, I was just letting everybody finish. So what went well? I think once we solidified our new group dynamic, Doug and we worked really well together, and we were able to communicate clearly and like divide and conquer at that point. So it's just like Doug handled our main feature, and I was able to do like pretty much the UI for Pantry Party. What I would have done differently, I would have asked for help sooner and been a little more clear and direct when it came to communication. I think at a certain point, I just let things get lost in translation because we were all under the assumption that everybody was on the same page, but obviously things didn't go the way that we had initially planned, but we were able to kind of get back on track and finish our app. And what do I appreciate about the entire capstone experience? I appreciated the accessibility of the instructional team, our mentor, and our peers. We met with our mentor literally 3 times a week. Alejo was always available whenever I had questions. And because it was just Doug and I working on Pantry Party, like I wouldn't want to, interfere with him, like dealing with WebRTC. So whenever I had a lot of like, issues with my front end or just like having things populate in like a more elegant way, I would reach out to our peers. So like Amin helped me. Thank you, Amin. I love you. Giselle, Khadija, and Riani, like they held it down whenever I was like, a little frazzled. So they would see and like I would walk them through my logic and they would just help me puzzle out any issues that I had. So I think Capstone really helped me because I don't know, you guys probably all know me being negative Nancy. During Pursue, I was just very like, I'm done. I hate it. I hate it here. But this kind of like low key Malik leaving just put the batteries in my back and I pretty much got my life. And yeah, it was great.
Thank you for sharing. Very inspiring, you both. Let's go group 4, the remote theater.
I could say I had a lot of fun making this app. Just kind of spending a lot of time working with time. Funny enough, just like figuring like the ins and outs and like kind of making the app do the intended like what I intended for it to do. And like I think the experience of like having a mentor who like works in the industry, like Chris specifically, he like gave the team like a better understanding of like user authentication. Mm-hmm. And like it kind of made me have like a more deeper respect for like security and like not like specifically cyber security and like user authentication and stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know if you want to add anything, Chuck.
Yeah, pretty much just want to kind of like echo like what you said. In terms of what went well, I feel like as a group we really overcame a lot of different things because basically we looked at a bunch of different technologies. I feel like we really learned a lot by the breadth of like technologies we looked at and just the sheer amount of like research that we all did in terms of trying to work on this capstone. And one of the things I really appreciate about this experience, same thing as you all, I appreciate the fact that our mentor, Chris, he's really big into cybersecurity and user authentication. And it really shows his passion that he has for that part of like computer science really reiterated the fact that I really love computer science and programming, and that I know that I want to do this as something that I want to do as a career, really. So, yeah, I really enjoyed this experience, and I'm also really proud to, now like I have another project that I could put and see, like I could have, and I could say that I'm proud of. So, yeah.
Thank you for sharing. It seems like you guys didn't take any notes. I liked what you shared, but is that correct?
No, we did take notes. I think Chuck took some.
We did. Yeah, we did. Should I
Sorry.
share it somewhere, or?
Yeah, I prefer to talk more in like a non-structured format.
Got it. Okay. Make sure that you guys share it with us, everyone. You guys. Cool. Last but not least, Group 8, Carrie.
Hello. So we came up with these answers as a group. So I don't know if you guys are gonna want to ask everyone individually, but things that we felt went well were being organized, like communicating and just knowing what everyone was working on, basically like every day. We would text constantly, we would be on Zoom constantly. So yeah, that's something we felt went well, and that everyone's ideas were taken into consideration. And things we would do differently, maybe just code more overall, because it's like I guess we were moving like at a slow pace, and maybe we could have implemented like more features that we wanted to include, and maybe like researched more technologies that we could have used also, instead of just sticking to the things that we already knew. So really knowing the trade-offs of like different technologies that are out there, not just the things we already knew. And oh yeah, maybe pair programmed more often, because we each worked on like our own individual things and like didn't really have such a great understanding of each other's code. Even though we were always talking and stuff, we didn't really pair program that much, just to like debug stuff. And something that we appreciated, that we all felt we appreciated, was getting to work in a group of all women, because we recognize that that might not be common, like working in this industry. And we're really grateful for that experience. Like it was super fun. And yeah, and we also appreciated having 2 mentors. Like that was a good experience too. And we were able to dive deeper into like our code, as opposed to before, where it felt like we were just like getting our feet wet, but we really were able to dive in deeper this time. And yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. So
overall, sorry, go ahead, Dessa.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead. It's fine.
I was just gonna say that, like, yeah, overall, I'm hearing a lot of good things and a lot of learning, which I think was a similar experience for me, and I'm glad to hear some of the stuff that you shared. Like overall, a learning experience, both technically and professionally, an opportunity for you to know yourself a bit better, to exercise the skills a bit more. I think something that I sort of picked up was a lot of you said like, oh, we wish we could have done more, and that is a good thing and a bad thing. I think like it's a good thing that you want to achieve more, but it could be a bad thing if you downplay yourself, saying, oh, we didn't achieve everything. And yeah, like I just hope that you recognize how far you've come, recognize that it's a journey, it's a a marathon, not a sprint. I think that's actually some language we use when you first join. That everyone it's on its own lane, but that doesn't mean that you can't help each other. I was really happy to hear shout outs to classmates and how they were able to help you. And yeah, it's even though you're on your own lane, is your own journey. That doesn't mean you're alone. That doesn't mean you uh, that you can't ask for help. In fact, that was one of the my personal toughest parts was like being humble enough to ask for help. Something that I learned during my capstone experience. And I was glad to hear a few points on that. The importance of pair programming. I think that I'm glad that you are now seeing it for yourself. I think I heard in a few different teams like the importance of that, and I actually think like I could have done a better job at having you pair program. But then I think there's nothing like when you realize for yourself that there's something that's good, that's important, that can make that can propel your learning in an exponential fashion when you do it. And I was glad to hear a few points about that. Yeah, I think that's all I have for you.
Thanks, Aleo. I definitely appreciated hearing shout outs to each other because that's something that I want you guys to remember, that you are each other's best resource and like supporters. So I think it's always been that way at Pursuit. Fellows help each other. Alumni come back and help upcoming fellows. Cultivating that dynamic is something I'd love to see happen, especially with 6.2 fellows. So it was great to see and hear how well you were able to leverage each other and support each other. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think something else that just came to mind. Yeah, like the confirmation, I guess, or reassurance that that how important it is, or how meaningful it is, the participation of mentors during these times, and how you sometimes not even develop professional relationships with these volunteers, but also friendship relationships. And that is just, that's something that I've said from the first day, and I'm glad to see, some sort of a confirmation with what you were sharing about like being appreciative being appreciative of having a mentor that you could go with tough questions to, that could help you navigate difficult parts. I am extremely thankful for, to them and to you for having, kept those relationships that at first they feel very awkward. They feel like it's because you don't know each other, and they feel like, yeah, I don't know how else to put it. It feels awkward, but I'm sure that as time passed by and as you got to know them and they got to know you, some of that awkwardness went out of the window, and you were able to connect better, help them help you better, and so on. So, keep those relationships, nourish them. They are, they are, they did this because they believe in you, they believe in the mission of Pursuit, and yeah. So I was just wanting to say that, like, keep that. I think that I didn't realize like the importance of like mentors until later on, in my own personal experience, and thinking something like, from old age, that is the way that people have learned. Like, I think about like in my own family, like my uncle. I have an uncle he fixes like appliances. He didn't go to school, but he learned how to fix like fridges, washing machines. He can fix any appliance basically. And the way he learned was by learning from his uncle when it was his turn. And like, just now we're sort of realizing, well, that's the way we learn best, I think. And I'm glad that I've had some of those experiences, and that you have had some of those experiences with these capstone mentors. Yeah, I think, I'm really proud of you all. Keep working, keep coding. The finish line is close. Remember that the finish line is that first job, and you are a step closer.
Definitely. So that's a good segue into the next slide. Between now and June 30th, which is the official end of class, what's going to happen? What can you expect from now until June 30th? What you can expect are these things. We're committed, your classroom team, Aleo and I, are committed to our daily check-ins and checkouts. So I know it doesn't say checkouts here, but checkouts are important, guys. Every Monday through Wednesday, 10 o'clock, 9:45 to 10 o'clock, we're checking out. 7 o'clock, we're checking in. I always say 6 o'clock. That's when I get ready. However, you can expect continued mentorship on your capstone projects. Okay? Continue to work on your capstone projects between now and June 30th. I know some of you may not be able to do that to the level that you have been doing it for the last 8 to 10 weeks. But we want you to continue to iterate and see if you can build out any of those future implementations, or if you can fix anything, make it tight, because these projects are going on your resume. These projects are going to be viewed by people who are going to be potentially trying to hire you. So definitely continue to work on the next 2 weeks on tightening up what needs to tighten up, cleaning up what needs to clean up, iterating on what has been done. That being said, over the next 2 weeks, we're going to ramp up big time on job readiness, pro skills. We will have daily workshops with workshopping time. That means starting on Saturday, you're going to have daily workshops with workshopping time. We're going to ramp up on job applications and how to you even track and manage that, project manage that entire process. I'll be sharing with you some strategies, some tips. Also, we will have career coaching sessions where we're going to deep dive into your experiences so that you know how to speak articulately about, gosh, did I just say articulately? Jesus wept. What I meant is you can speak very well, because I am not doing this evening. You can speak very well, very clearly, very succinctly about your experience. And actually, in bi-weekly, basically twice a week, I will be having individual check-ins with each one of you. Our initial bi-weekly check-in will be to set specific benchmarks around your job readiness and your job application process and tracking, so that moving forward, we can continue to work towards those benchmarks, meet them, exceed them, and continue until you're hired. What will continue for the next 2 weeks is DSAs every week, every Wednesday, with Aleo and Ben Sussman. I'm going to just, for the sake of time, run through all of this. After June 30th, this is what you can expect, right? So post June 30th. So post June 30th, we will continue with having bi-weekly check-in and check-outs as a whole class. Okay? Technical mentorship and or individualized technical mastery will occur and that's what you can expect. So if you are job ready right now, but you're not employed, you will be getting a mentor to support you on your continued growth and development as an engineer. So one of the first things we'd like to see you doing with your mentor is really reviewing your resume projects to iterate, improve, and also there will be additional workshops and volunteer-led events that you can also improve your technical mastery. Furthermore,
I want to add something here also. Like I guess in this same umbrella, you'll be working on or towards your technical mastery development, and the way in which that will look, the way that will look like is looking at your gradebook, looking at what are some of the things that you can do to get your standards up, working on your portfolio, etc., and like having check-ins with me on that end, where we set goals and we check in on progress for those. I'll also be doing some review sessions. They will be.
Wait. You're jumping ahead.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know there was a second slide. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. So, but you can go. So just to continue, there will be job readiness pro skills workshops on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Saturdays. Those are the 3 days a week post June 30th that I'm committing to doing workshops with workshopping time, where we'll focus on job applications and project managing that process, having individualized career coaching sessions, and of course, on one of those days, 2 of those days rather, there will be, I think it'll be Tuesday and Saturdays, there'll be a bi-weekly check-in to accomplish benchmarks. Also, additionally, you can expect continued weekly DSAs and with Aleo and or volunteers. Weekly technical mastery review sessions are something that you will also have with Aleo, and I think that's what you were going to talk about, Aleo, before I was like, you're jumping ahead.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. I'll be setting up meetings with each one of you to talk about your technical development and how we can get you there. And then once we do that, it will be like, on you doing the work, utilizing resources, doing research, and checking, and I'll be available as possible for any assistance in that regard. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Questions, comments?
Okay, I got 2 questions. One is as far as our technical mastery, should we be doing leak code and code karma and stuff like that to help us develop our DSAs and stuff like that when we don't have class?
I think the answer is yes. I will say that you could do it. You could do it a bit targeted in terms of, looking at your gradebook. And this is some of the stuff that we will talk about, like in our one-on-ones. Looking at your gradebook, what are some of the areas like that you need to work on, and then maybe finding leak code problems that exercise those. It might be, it's going to require a lot of creativity, resilience specifically, on like maybe reviewing material, reviewing lessons, redoing labs. Not maybe because you'll get reassessed, but because they will help you practice those skills. In terms of reassessment, our plans will still stand from like what we had talked in the past, where there's 2 projects that you can use to get reassessed, like on a wider technical mastery, which is the CTA retake and the project clone, the clone app project. And remember, I shared those. They are in the calendar. on where I had set some dates for us to for me actually to grade some of that work. So look at that, and if you want me to give you feedback to reassess you, I will be happy to do so. But it will be about once we have our one-on-one, identifying what are those areas, and then prioritizing and coming up with a plan for you to stick to. And I know that I want to stick with Basecamp, or it could be Trello, or it could be anything really for us to manage some of those steps. Yeah. Does that answer your question, Ryan?
Yeah, it does. And the second one is, what about demo day? When are we
That's
gonna?
right.
Huh?
So demo day is TBD, to be discussed, and TBA, to be announced.
Mm-hmm.
Demo day has now become something that may be planned for when we come back from being remote.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not certain as to what the date and timing of demo days be, but I've been told that towards me about the clarity about the date and what it's going to look like, what the goals are for it. Once I have that information, you guys know I'm going to tell you. But right now, I don't have that information, and I'm not involved in the planning of it as of yet. If I will be a part of that planning, I don't know. Yeah. So long and short is, you will have a demo day. I have absolutely no information beyond that.
Okay. One more question for demo day. Are we demoing our capstone projects, or for some of us who might be working on personal projects, can we demo that?
I have no more information about demo day and what it's going to look like, what its goals are beyond that. You will actually have one. So I'm not even sure what it all is going to be involved in demo day.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
I'm so sorry. I wish I had more information. I just don't.
That's all right.
I think that's a good idea, or a suggestion that we can bring to the table.
Yeah.
Sure.
Second that.
Awesome. Okay, so demo day could be about passion projects or your capstone projects. Got it. Any other questions or comments?
I'll send you guys my demo day so you can see us a younger version of myself, and you see how that will go. And then you can have an idea what that could look like.
I just wanted to say thank you really quick, because I didn't know. I kind of expected it to be a lot more disconnected after the core program, and it really seems like you're giving us so much more of your time afterwards to help us continue to compound our skills and get better and get those jobs. And I just wanted to say thank you. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think that's one of the also the differentiating factors about this shit. It is really when you get a job, we're gonna support you, and once you get a job and beyond that as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That brings me to the last point. I did not talk about, I know some of you are starting internships. Some of you have already, Janesh, you've already started your internship and you're still coming to class. It's absolutely incredible to see that happen. But once you're hired, once you have job obligations, we're still going to continue to support you. You guys are still going to get mentors. If you we won't expect you to show up to class past June 30th or anything like that. But the supports will still be available to you if you so desire. So all of these structures in place, all of these meetings, classes, workshops, etc., you guys can still come to those. And as an additional caveat, you are going to get a mentor so that you can continue to grow and develop and advance in your your new roles and in your new careers as software engineers. Okay.
I just wanted to reemphasize that, yeah, the no coming to class is for the fellows that are hired.
That's right. If you haven't been, I know who you are. So if you're not hired, you got to show up, because I don't know how else we're gonna get you hired.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you, Aleo. Oh my goodness. You're expected here, guys. That being said, I just put a feedback form in. I know we're all tired of feedback forms. Please help me though and complete this feedback form. Some of you, Doug, I know you've already done it twice. Don't do it again.
Oh yeah, I think there were people that didn't fill it out yesterday. If you're unsure, fill it out again. Only if you're unsure. And of course, if you haven't.
I'm teasing you, Doug. Don't mind me.
Cool.
Yeah, so take a few minutes and fill that out. If you've already filled it out, see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Getting Alzheimer's already. God help me. So 7 p.m. tomorrow.
The staff meeting tomorrow. Is that still going on? That's it?
What? Yes. Oh. Thank you. Endeavor, Coral, and Pantry, you've been asked to present to the staff. I think you all should have gotten calendar invites.
Who was that again?
What
For
time
the
is it
staff meeting tomorrow at 2 p.m., I believe it is. Guys.
No, I asked too. I didn't hear the groups that you said.
Oh, Coral. So Peter, Sergio, and Owen, and Endeavor, which is Brianna, Joey, and Amin, and Pantry, Michael, Vonil, and Janesh. You've been asked by you guys actually, when I offered all the groups to go, they actually picked those three particular
But we volunteer.
Yeah, I know you volunteered, but then I volunteered the whole class, and then they picked you guys anyway. So that's neither here nor there. It's great that you volunteered, but in the end, they picked who they wanted to present. Okay.
Are we still scripting?
So we're voluntold?
Huh? You guys volunteered in the first place, so it doesn't count.
Are we still using the scripts?
There's no Google Calendar invites.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna check tomorrow morning. I will be calling each and every one of you by phone tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah.
Just before
Or
the
text.
meeting. Just to confirm, and I will also. Just to confirm you got the calendar invite. If you haven't, by tomorrow morning, please Slack me so that I can follow up with Will.
Okay. Are we still going through the PowerPoint presentation? And
Yes, the same demo, 7 minutes demo, followed by 3 minutes of Q&A that you did for technical showcase. That's what you're going to do for the staff.
Okay.
With the backgrounds and everything, like, you know.
Full brand,
Is there a prize?
everything. There's no prize.
I love.
I'm doing like a drive-by graduation for my students that I teach tomorrow during the day, so I can't make that.
Okay, so
I don't know.
should Coral not go, or do you think that that's
If Sergio and Owen want to do it without me, that's fine. If they want to do it like at a different staff meeting, that's also fine. Like I don't want to not do it for the rest of the staff, but tomorrow I have to do like a graduation for my kids.
okay? Let me see if we can get Coral scheduled for a different staff meeting. Maybe
Wait, what time is it? I think the new might.
2 p.m.
Yo, Vanille, you there?
O'Neill?
You fell asleep.
What?
Vanille? Probably fell asleep. Are you muted, Vanille?
He's muted, but I don't think he's answering either.
Yeah, I think he works. He's working right now.
Okay.
We can do it 2 people. You have the app, Michael?
Yeah, I have
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe if two groups are not like ready to make it tomorrow, maybe just push it to another day.
Yeah, no, that's not gonna work. I'm sorry. We can add on
No, we
another
can do it.
day,
We can
but
make
we
it work.
need at least 2 groups to present to the staff tomorrow. So Endeavor,
Yeah.
can I volunteer pantry party?
Suzette, are you free for 2?
Yes.
You said yeah.
Okay, because I remembered you guys also volunteered yourself yesterday. I can ask if we can break it up and then maybe 2 groups go tomorrow and 2 groups go like pantry, and Coral can go at a different date.
What day is that?
I will have to find out. But I know I need 2 groups for tomorrow, for sure.
You can still put us down. We can do it 2 people.
You can do it with 2 people?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, there it is. Okay. Okay. Are we good with that then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I hope everyone has a good night. See you all tomorrow. Take care.
Hey,
Good night.
Good night.
thank you for
Good night.
dancing. Don't forget the survey, guys, if you have not completed that survey.
Hi, Owen. Hi, Owen.
Hey, what's up?
What's
How are
up,
you doing,
Owen?
Nothing. I was about to leave right now.
No worries.
Oh, I
No
thought you
rush.
wanted to say
Oh,
no rush.
I think you guys were kicking me out. I was like, geez, I'm leaving. Give me a second.
Oh, no, nobody's kicking you out. We were
Okay.
just hoping that you were going to say something.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's probably a good idea to wait for Peter, but yeah, I'll see. I'll talk to Sergio, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I think we should wait for Peter.
If you guys feel like you can present, like just like Pantry feels that they can present, you let me know.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, Owen.
Bye.
I'll be in touch. Bye.